Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Okay. Okay, it's just getting ready. And if you can hear the sound, if you can just write okay, or I can hear you, because there was a problem with the last one. If you can hear the sound, if you can just okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna see if this works here. Test. Okay. Okay, cool. Hey guys, what's up? So I have today's the first of the Practice What You Preach learning sessions, and it's an idea I had actually about 3 weeks ago when I was in the middle of a session with a client, and they were actually they were having a little bit of trouble with this one part. It was a guitar session, and so I got the idea for about 5 to 10 minutes in each lesson, I was planning on actually learning in front of them. So it's like, instead of just practicing the part on guitar, so when they're at home, they would think, I saw Steve and he played with this order of notes and actually playing the part. I kind of went beyond that, where I thought that if I showed him how I learn, then it's actually going to be more helpful, because then if let's say I'm doing color commentary as I'm learning something in front of my client, then it'll be much more helpful, because then they would go home and they would think, oh, what did Steve do when he encountered that obstacle? And I thought that it would be kind of cool, and so it actually started really working well for my clients, and they really enjoy it. So what better way to share it with everyone but to do a live stream? So I'm going to make this a big part of my business, and a big part of my challenges is having you guys come along with me as I'm doing the streaming. So I'm really excited, and this is the first one for violin, and I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen here, but I want to just break down how I'm approaching this, how I'm going to take the goal and split it up into different parts. And this, I think, can work for anybody who's doing language, learning a language, let's say learning a dance routine, learning an instrument, learning a new move in your particular sport, starting a business. It's really just with anything, but I'm going to use violin for the first few, because that's what this month's challenge is. So for March 2014, I'm going to be learning how to play Bittersweet Symphony on the violin. Okay, so let's get to it. At the end of the session, I will be accepting any questions that you might have, and if I'll also be streaming this or recording the stream. So if you have any questions, then also leave it in the comments on Facebook, and I'll get back to that, or in the messages. You could even reply to my email, steve@intothevoidcoaching.com. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to set a goal. So at the beginning of any practice session, let's say for 15 minutes, I'm going to be practicing, I want to set a goal. So when you set an intention, your subconscious is going to help you work towards that, and so you're going to just perform better. And so the goal for today is to listen to the song and kind of listen for the starting point, or find the starting point on the guitar, on the violin. So I'm going to find the starting point on there, and then I'm going to kind of build from there. And sometimes practice sessions go the way that you originally planned. Sometimes they go a little bit differently depending on how you feel. If you succeed a few times, then you can kind of go in another direction. But I think that what I'll do today is the goal will be to break down the different sections, and also to kind of just to practice, go over some of the approaches that I take to actually playing it. Okay, if I get to the playing with the bow, that would be amazing. But first and foremost, I want to get the left hand on here because it's very, very difficult. Okay, so if some of you guys might know that I'm a guitar player, but I've realized that has really there's no real advantage with the violin. I mean, there are a couple of things that do help, and if you're doing anything, if you're learning any new skill, then you want to use any skill that may have helped before. So if you're learning a language, let's say you want to study Spanish or Italian, if you know French, then those will definitely help those ones. But with violin, I want to mimic as much as possible the guitar on here. So I want to take what I know on guitar and I want to try to replicate that on the violin. And then that's why I'm leaving the bow for last, is because I want to get the left hand happening, and that's what reminds me the most of to guitar. Okay, so I have the goal, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to the song. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to hear it, but I'm going to listen to the song so I can get the right locations, the right sound in my head. Okay, and I'm going to just try to find the first note. Okay, so I found it. I'm gonna hold on to this part for dear life. I mean, there's no location really on here. I might want to mark it with a pencil or a sticker, but I'm gonna hold on to this for now. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna think about kind of with this section. Everybody knows this song, "Bittersweet Symphony" by The Verve. It's always going to be easier when you do what I call chunking. So you chunk the information, and so that really just means grouping the information into smaller groups. So you have the full song, the full riff, and you could hear 4 distinct sections. So you have like dun 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 is one, then dun dun dun, then the next one dun dun dun, and then dun 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 dun. So there's 4 sections of 3 notes. Dun 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 dun. So 4 sections. Now, what I'm going to do from there is there's a lot of different strategies. I can take maybe one strategy, which is taking the one chunk and practicing that, finding the exact locations, and then developing the speed on that, getting more comfortable with that, and then and I'll do that with just my fingers plucking like this, because like I said, that's kind of like guitar. And then what I can do is I could take that one chunk and then graduate that to the bow, let's say. And so I take the one chunk, and today's goal would be to basically master that first chunk, which is 1/4 of the song, and I would just take it from beginning to end like that. Or I could take the whole thing and just play with the plucking. So it won't be getting to the bow, but I can get all 4 chunks plucking. Because I have 15 minutes, I think what I would do is I would opt for the first one. So getting the first chunk and getting comfortable with that on the left hand with the plucking, and then graduate to the bow. Okay, so let's see how that goes. I'm going to have one more listen here. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So I'm going to find the notes for the left hand. So trial and error, pretty much. Okay, so what I notice is that I just have to move my index finger, or I have to move my middle finger a little bit further, and then I bring it right beside the index. On guitar, it's much easier because the notes are spaced out quite a bit, but on here, you have to be very precise. So I'm going to practice that section, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it 3 times without making a mistake. So I'm going to play it, then I'm going to take a break, a short break, and then I'm going to play it again, and then take a short break, and then play it again. Because the song doesn't go dun 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 dun. If you play it all in a row, it's actually not going to be effective because that's not what the end result is going to sound like. So you're kind of wasting time. So what you're going to do is you do 3 times. I kind of make a game out of it, and then if I don't get it right, then let's say I do 1 time correct, 2 times correct, and then I make a mistake, then I'm going to start again because I didn't get the 3 points. So let's see what happens here. Okay, there's 1, 2. Okay, so at that speed, I got the 3 there. So I got a little bit further, so I'm going to start again 3 times. Okay, so now that I got that, maybe I'll try to play along with the track. It's kind of jumping a bit ahead to play up to speed, but let's see what happens. With the plucking, it's a little bit easier. Okay. Okay, again. Okay, so that's feeling pretty good. Okay, so with that feels good. I'm going to now use the bow because I've decided that instead of doing all 4 chunks, I'm going to do the first chunk and just develop that part. And it's March 16th, and I have about 14 or 15 more days to do this, to practice this. So I think what would be actually better is to get the first chunk and then just perfect that, and then do the second chunk, and then maybe connect the 2. I'll talk about that a little bit more as at the end of the session. But I'm going to try with the bow now. And one of my friends told me that my bow is too tight. What you want to do, for any violin players out there, you want to get it so that it's about a pencil width apart when you press. So before, mine was way too tight, so it was bouncing quite a bit. Okay, and then also this week I'm going to go to the store and buy a shoulder rest for the violin because I'm doing way too much work. So I'm going to just practice the same thing very slowly, and I still want to do that 3. I want to use the first chunk, and I want to play that game where I'm doing 3 times without making a mistake. Practice the part, take a break, practice the part again, take a break, practice the part again. And until I do that, I won't move on to a faster speed. I won't take on more if that one's not accomplished. Okay, so again, that works with anything, language, or a different move, like let's say a trick shot in sports. Anything like that, you want to go really slowly. Okay. Okay, so also what I've decided to do is I'm going to go up, down, up, down. Okay, so and I've learned that when I keep this straight, it's actually going to be a lot better. So, just little improvements along the way. But for the left-hand part, this is actually sounding pretty good. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to start to play a little bit faster because I'm feeling a little more confident with this. See, I'm getting a bit of a bounce, so I'm not sure why. I'm still learning about the bow here, but it's the left hand part's feeling pretty good. So that one was correct. And one more time. It's a very simple concept, doing it 3 times. But you do it once and maybe you got lucky. You do it twice and I don't know, it still kind of is on borderline of luck. So 3 times really proves to you that you can play the part confidently, and it develops the muscle memory. This is really what you can do for the muscle memory, is play 3 times without making a mistake and then move forward. So moving forward, what does that mean? Move forward, play faster, or again with language, if you are reading a sentence, to say the language, to say the sentence a little bit faster. So increase the speed, increase more words. With, let's say, with the trick shot, do it without the ball, then do it with the ball. And so you're practicing the muscle movement, and your muscles will remember that. The crazy part is actually, some people think when there's a mistake that maybe it's an act of God or something like that. And what it actually is your fingers don't really judge whether it's a mistake or you play it perfectly. It's your fingers will do whatever you tell it to do. So when people make mistakes like that, it's actually from careless practice. So if you play slowly and you actually, so you chunk the material so your brain can process that, and you practice it where 3 times without making a mistake, and then moving forward, 3 times without making a mistake, moving forward, playing faster, doing more. You'll really program it into your fingers where it's just there. It's especially after you sleep and then you wake up again and then you come back to it. It kind of files the information. So let's see if I got that first note. So see, it's there. That's really cool. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. The next thing that I'm going to do is on the next practice session, which is probably going to be in the next 2 or 3 days, I'm going to take it to the next level. So I'm probably going to practice chunk number 2. I'm going to review chunk 1 so that I can refresh my memory, and then I'm going to isolate chunk number 2, and then I'm going to connect the 2 of them. And that'll get me on track for the to polishing it up. So I'm going to get all 4 of them, and then I'm going to kind of polish the whole thing with some extra techniques. But I think I achieved my goal for the session today, and I feel good. It was 15 minutes and it's a short session, and so you want to have your practice sessions really short, and then you take a break, you come back to it. That way you don't really if you get frustrated, at least you can move on to something else. But you focus on it, you set a goal, you set your intention,